what I want to do is, and it kind of touches on some of the questions that were coming through in that last session, is look at how do you actually bring a bit of structure to your data management. And there is actually an ISO standard that helps support this. ISO 8000 Part 150, which you may or may not be aware of. What I'm going to do is take you a very quick canter through it, but also suggest some additional activities that you can include that actually help give you a framework to build some data governance on. So, sorry, before I move on. The way if not the concept behind it is this 9-block model, which I've got some concerns it's not perfect, but actually is a way of selling a message, of explaining data quality management to a wider audience. It actually does have some merit. The way it's structured into 3 vertical processes: data operations, the things that you do with the data; data quality monitoring, is it any good? And if it's not any good, how do you improve it? That's your 3rd process. It's also split into 3 horizontal roles, which in standard it defines as data manager, data administrator, and data technician. Now, I don't know of any organisation that is simple enough where you can actually nice and neatly fit those 3 roles. I think for most organisations they are far more complex than that. But if you think about those levels as strategic, tactical, and operational, that gives you a much better feel of what they might be. So what I'll do now is I'll take you through each of the boxes in turn, give you a little idea of some of the things that go behind it, and some anecdotes there, and then we'll just see what we'll get to. So the first one is data architecture management. How do your data sets link to each other? So this is more of an enterprise architecture role who's thinking about master data management. Where is your master data source? Thinking about your overall conceptual data models and logical data models. Do you actually understand the structure that you should have? And you understand the structure that you've got between your data sets. So that's the strategic level. If you then get down to more the tactical level, you're then thinking in terms of the data design. So what are our data specifications? What do we need for each entity? What are the attributes that are required? What do those attributes mean? So I mentioned earlier that I do a lot of work in physical asset management. One of the real challenges is if you have an attribute that is length, what do you actually mean? What are you measuring? In what unit of measure? Is it meters? Is it millimeters? Is it from this point to that point? Or are you also including something else as well? Vital to get those right. And if you don't get them right, the data you get is going to be interesting. You then take it down to the nose level then, on that point, is looking at the data processing. Is thinking through about some metrics around how data is processed. Are you getting the data in that you expect, when you expect it? What's the quality of that data? And actually this is quite a useful tool as a leading indicator of data quality. So if you're checking the data coming in from people doing online requests, for example, web requests, or people doing work activities, check the data coming in. If you're not doing it right then, you've got a way of actually making sure that your data lake doesn't become a data assessment because you're capturing incoming data. It gives you a leading indicator so that you can check and improve the data. So those are looking really at the data operations side of things. Then on the data quality monitoring side, to the top one, the most strategic one, which is one that many organisations haven't quite got there yet, is actually coming up with a data quality plan. So rather than saying we will have perfect data, there's no big afford perfect data, is actually coming up with more of a coherent strategic plan that says these are the quality levels that we're aiming for. Over this time period, these are the resources that we're going to deploy to help achieve those data quality levels. They're actually trying to put a framework of where you're trying to get to. For some things, we talked to just the questions before were coming about what's the importance and relevance of the data. For some data sets, for some data entities, you may want a far higher level of accuracy than for other data sets. If it's a Twitter stream that's coming in, you're probably not overly concerned about it. If it's actually order transactions, you want to make sure they are accurate. So it's about trying to get the quality level set right. Below that then is thinking about the data quality criteria. The creation person needs to recognise that diagram, don't you? Is actually what you're actually measuring, developing and agreeing what your data quality criteria actually are. And this isn't actually about doing the measurement, that comes later. This is actually defining what are your data quality measures. Once you've defined your measures, you then actually need to do a think about doing the measurement. They are two separate activities. Your data quality measurement potentially is going to be done at very different time frequencies. Going back to the critical data, you're potentially going to want to be assessing that on a much more frequent basis than something that is less important. There are some things, if you are about to do a data migration activity, you're potentially going to go and spend a lot more time, or forensically go into a lot more detail about assessing and understanding the quality of your data. If it's more business running, you've probably got some high-level metrics that you run, and that might be a corporate dashboard, but it's once a month, it's generated, it's updated, and you get the frequency of it. You also, in terms of data quality measurement, need to think about who is going to do the measurement and how. So it's actually coming up and putting a bit of structure there about how that fits. We then look on the right-hand side then, thinking about data quality improvement. So the top box here, which is described as data stewardship and flow management. Unfortunately, I disagree with the way they've grouped this. I think actually the flow management, how data moves between the data sets, is actually much more closely linked to data architecture management. But the data stewardship side is trying to think through who is actually empowered and enabled to make data changes to the data. Who is able to actually make changes to the configuration of the data sets and data stores. Actually trying to put some clarity there for who does what. This is an area which is borrowing on from maintenance world, or borrowing from the physical asset world, actually looking at your data error cause analysis. It's probably going to be a new concept of data, but it's trying to think through, if we've got a data quality problem, what's the root cause? So let's address the root cause to avoid having more data problems. The challenge you get is, for many organisations, they have got lots of data quality problems. So if you were to try and look at the root cause of every single data quality problem that you've got, you would stop the organisation because everybody is looking for root causes. So your challenge, and that's what the graph will put there, is potentially trying to pick through which are the low frequency, very high consequence data quality problems that we must address. They're the ones that's worth spending a bit of time to work out what's going on, work and correct that problem. On the other side of the spectrum is the low consequence, very high frequency data errors. So it might be people putting in the queries for pink plus balance. It's trivial, it's happening a lot of the time, but it may be that might be something you think, actually, what's the root cause of this? Do we actually need to give somebody I want to make my dream car, to actually try to separate out the people who are dreaming, aspirational, and people who might actually want to buy a car. So that's giving you an idea. So if you work out what the root cause of your data errors are, then the bottom level there is thinking about your data error correction. So if you've got data quality problems, if your data quality monitoring is found, this is then looking out and how you're going to correct them. There is actually also a valid point. A valid option is to do nothing. In quite a few circumstances, the cost, time, the effort to correct your data errors is going to be prohibitive, so it's probably better leave the data as is, just concentrate on getting the new stuff that's coming in, get that good. With data error correction, that actually could be a project, it could be a process, it could be something data profiling, desktop based. It could actually be the physical world where I spend a lot of time, is sending people out with survey tools into the field to gather information on assets. Hugely expensive, so you only want to do that when you absolutely have to. So what I've done there is I've taken you very quickly through those 9 boxes. But actually there are some interrelationships between those different boxes. And it's worth thinking about through how some of these fit together. So data architecture management informs your data design. Your data design informs your data processing activities. Your data design also has a natural link into setting up your data quality criteria. They are in turn informed by your data quality plan, which is the mode of measurement. There's a link between your data architecture management and flow management. So all these things fit together, and it's actually, as ISO standards go, some of them are fairly impenetrable. This one actually isn't that bad as one to read, look at, and understand. Also, some self-publicity here, I've got our blog, I've got a few posts around that, with some more narrative behind what's behind this presentation. But what you can also do is, if you add in a little bit more to this, you can actually use this as a framework for data governance. So if you enhance the model by adding in change control, escalation process, and thinking about the organisation, that gives you quite a nice framework for data governance. So So the organisation, have you actually made it clear to people how information, how knowledge, how thinking, how issues flow through the organisation? Again, I won't name the organisation, but one organisation I'm working with at the moment, we've got a load of super users in one corner who don't know how they fit into the rest of the organisation. So they feel they are empowered to resolve data problems. They actually ought to be putting up a much higher level to improve before they resolve them. They're reconfiguring systems without thinking through what the impact is. And so part of what I've been doing with our client is actually building some structure, making it clear that super user group, the outputs from that group, goes to this particular group, which in turn goes to the high-level group, which ultimately will go to exactly the organisation. Which also then that really leads into the escalation route. It's an absolute clarity. If somebody finds a particular problem with the data, or if they have a bright idea, wouldn't it be a good idea if we gathered this data? Is there a clear route where you can escalate that to the right level where somebody can actually make a decision? And at any point in your escalation route, there's only three things that can be done. So if you have an issue arrive on your desk, you either, if you are either have the budget or the authorisation to agree to do something about it, then agree to do something about it. Maybe that you actually got the level of authorisation where you're actually going to tolerate that particular issue and say, no, we're not going to do anything. We feel this is not significant enough to spend time and effort to do that. But if you get a situation where you think, this is big, this is significant, I don't have the authorisation, or we don't have the authorisation to prove this, and you're not happy tolerating it, then you escalate something to the next level, which gets back to that organisation side. If you know your roots of the organisation and it's clear, then it makes sure everything works nicely. Decisions should be made at the right level. You avoid the problem I mentioned earlier about people lower down the organisation, being innovative, thinking that they are empowered to make some changes quite big, not quite effective across the organisation. And then finally, it's thinking in terms of change control again. People sometimes think, oh, let's just have another lab of ideas like drop-down list. Simple, you might have the user rights to do so. The knock-on effect, potentially on corporate dashboards, on reporting, on other analytics, could be quite significant. Could be a case where you've got a data modeler who says, I need that dimension, that length dimension I talked about earlier. I need that to the nearest micron. I've got that to the nearest micron. I can do some really clever analysis with it. And the cost of getting the data to that level is significant. Is the benefit going to be sufficient to actually say, yes, let's go that data? So you need to get some change control in there to actually help you join all the dots together. So before I go to the standard, one of the things I also found interesting is, again, the organisation we're working with is looking at adding in some of these data, using ISO 8000 Part 150 as a guide to actually put data governance into the organisation. A little bit by stealth. There are already a lot of expert groups and different forums covering particular areas within the organisation. They've got standard terms of reference, they've got standard agendas. They didn't always mention data in those agendas and terms of reference. So by adding in data, adding in a bit of structure, adding in clarity around escalation routes, we're able to introduce a much more coherent approach to data governance without actually setting up a whole separate industry, whole separate set of data meetings that will then get very intrusive. It's actually giving quite a quick and easy and pragmatic way of actually getting people to think more about the data and how the data affects the organisation. So what I've done there is I've gone through a very quick count through ISO 8000 Part 150, plus some suggested add-ons you might want to consider from a data governance perspective. This slide is borrowed from the presentation I was doing yesterday, but there are some other data standards to be aware of. Now, one of the speakers who was about to have today was Hugh Boys from the University of Warwick. He was one of the key authors of the document here, which I'll read it out for you. The title is PAS 1192 Part 5, Specification for Security-Minded Building Information Modelling, Digital Built Environments and Smart Asset Management. Very long. Sorry. Well, some of those names, some of the other ones are even worse. But the thing why that is quite important is that it's actually, it was released at the end of May. It's freely available, in fact, all those top 4 standards, PAS 1192 Part 2, 3, 4 and 5, which are all related to building information modelling. They're all free downloads from the BSI shop. Part 5 is of interest because it looks at not just data security, we're thinking about data on things that you might be sensitive about. If you understand what are the things that we need to look after, how do we make sure that either we don't lose personally identifiable information, that we don't potentially give somebody the opportunity to conduct hostile reconnaissance without actually physically going out on site, put those controls in place, thinking about breach management. If the data does get out, what can you do about it? So as a standard, if you're interested in data security, that's one that is worth thinking about. The other one there, bottom left, ISO 15926, which I spent a bit of time investigating that, about data interoperability, how do you join the dots, particularly between organisations. It's a suite of standards that has some potential in terms of are the commercial service offerings that are fit for use in mission-ready applications. Not quite there yet, I think proof of concept we did last year was kind of proving that. But there's a lot of interesting work going on in that area. So I won't go into any more detail on those standards, unless you've got a sort of physical asset background, it's not going to be of interest to you. So, questions? Please.
When is ISO 8000 out?
ISO 8000 Part 150 has been out for about 2 years now, 2 or 3 years.
I thought it was still under development.
No, in fact it's a whole suite of standards.
Right.
Part 8 was out for review last year, and that's assessing data quality. I've got a whole load of comments there. They've got some interesting takes on how you do that. Part 110 has been out for quite a while, that's about master data. I can't remember all the sequence, but
120, 130 and 140 each have pieces of it as well.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they're all in various stages of.
Yeah.
They're all. I think the thing is they're out, but they're still undergoing changes and renovations as they go along.
Yeah. The title of the series is very much about master data management. When you look at particularly Part 150, it applies to any organisation data, not just master data.
People are writing these standards. You know, a little line box matrix. It kind of was what it was. It didn't come alive until you put the other 3 boxes on the side showing the position of the organisation.
Yeah.
When people are writing these things, where do they come up with these job titles? Because if you present a standard, a diagram like that to a CEO, you'll look at it and say, oh, data administrator, oh yeah, that's the person who types in the orders and billing and all that sort of stuff. And the data technician, that's just another name for IT. It would leave them absolutely cold. One of the things we try to do is give people exciting names like Master Data Officer or Common Coding Officer, which kind of, it makes it live in the organisation. So I just wonder when people are doing this.
Well, I think one of the challenges is, and so again, into the physical asset management world, ISO 55000 has been released just a year ago. And being on the periphery of the work developing ISO 55000, one of the things you're not aware of, and there's the challenges is, not only have you got to get international consensus on the concepts, is that you have to choose language that can easily be translated to French, to German, to Spanish, etc., etc. And so if you come up with something which is so localised that the French won't get it, or there's no natural translation to Portuguese, you can't put it in standard. And so those roles, data manager, data administrator, probably viewed as these are things that will easily be translatable to different contexts without being too specific to prevent that translation problem. So a lot of the challenges there are, like I say, it's not just getting the agreement on the concepts, but actually trying to make sure the end result
kills its stone dead as soon as it goes into an organisation. Even if you're taking the wrong data and changing it for information, suddenly it's got a life that a business or organisation is interested in.
Yeah.
So I just think that's part of your challenge, I think, is selling these things.
Oh, definitely, yes. And so part of it as well is that, like I say, reading ISO standards, some of them are legible, some of them you look at them, it's just impenetrable. And so I think, in terms of my consultative role, part of it is actually trying to take the concept and then replay it back in a way that's trying to then fit that and make it applicable to your organisation. More questions? Anyone?
I agree that getting data governance is better done by stealth, not setting up a whole new governance framework just for data, get it on the agenda of the existing bodies.
Yeah.
What happens if they don't exist or are dysfunctional?
What, like 99.9% of companies?
I can't name this client, right?
But again, I think it's partly about by stealth, it's partly about trying to actually, it's be an evangelist for data. If you, so people are familiar with some of my presentations, there's a concept called the data zoo. And two of the characters in the data zoo, one is the data evangelist, which is like the whole view of, if we can get better data, look at all the clever things we can do, look at all the benefits we can generate as an organisation. But the counter side to that is the prophet of doom. If we don't improve, this is going to happen. If we don't solve this problem out, our regulators can jump on. If we don't improve our performance in this area, we're going to be left behind by the competition. We're going to cease to exist. So those two kind of messages almost work together, the pull and the push, trying to get people to realise that data as it is, and before. Another thing that I do on a regular basis is compare approaches to data to health and safety. And if you think about maybe construction in the 1900s, the Victorians, they built lots of railways, did lots of things, usually had quite a few fatalities every time they dug a tunnel or a cutting or whatever. That was normal then. If we think about data now, most people, or many people's view is, well, data quality problems are just normal. It has to be that way. At the moment, construction's got to a point where they're actually trying to get to a point where zero fatalities, zero reportable incidents. Some of the work I'm doing with Crossrail, although they did have, unfortunately, have one fatality, the accident rates of Crossrail are significantly below average for the construction industry. So it can be done. So why can't we do it for data? That's one of our challenges there.
I think you're right there. I think Darragh O'Brien talked something recently about data governance being almost like fire wardens in a building. It's not something you only do that, you do your data job as well. It's something everybody has to be aware of and understand. You know, you're right. It's getting the message across in the right way.
But I think also picking up on that is if you look at the Data Governance Institute website, look at some of the stuff they're proposing there, and look at it, I would fundamentally disagree with whatever, because they look at, you've got to set up this data governance office, you've got to set up this program to implement it, and for many organisations, and I came at the tail end of one where a large consultancy gone in and said, to do data governance, it'll be 18 months to set it up, it'll cost so much before you can start getting any benefits. This doesn't work that way.
Once
You
this
have to do lifestyle.
is in the UK, they can't afford that big
Yeah,
government infrastructure. I think most of 10 people are London.
yeah. But also, one of the reasons is that, so the work I'm doing is fine for getting their terms of reference sorted out, is that data, process and software, they're all very, very closely related to each other. So if you talk about data in isolation, you're going to struggle. If you talk about process in isolation from the data and the software, you're going to struggle. They have to be viewed together in this day and age. And so it makes more sense to add data facets to existing bodies than it does to try and set up a whole separate population ecosystem of data things, data people.
So you've been telling us about ISO 8000, Part 150, and saying about this matrix and how it's useful, blah, blah, blah. Right. Is there a notion of an organisation being compliant with this standard? Can an organisation be audited?
You can be, yes, and there is growing sort of capability there in the supervision market to do that. And so we certainly, other people we know of, are getting quite a lot of interest around ISO 150, going into organisations, looking at them, what they do and how they perform. And yes, there are schemes to start getting certified and approved that route. Something about it.
Well, because I know ISO 8000 because I certified in it.
Right. Any more questions?